Good afternoon, guys. We'll begin in a bit. This is Java Class 101. I'm going to go over today with some probably array lists. It's a really good data structure, which I hope you guys will like. So stay put in a bit. Hmm. Hmm. Let's look at this. Hmm. Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Hi.
How's everything? It's been a while.
I know. So sorry. My computer, like I turned it on, and for some reason it was like Gmail has had an error loading the website.
Okay.
And I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's all good. Sometimes, yeah, I've been getting a lot of internet problems too. Like
Yep.
this past, like I think my internet actually turned off the other, like while I was working.
Oh my gosh.
How's your Java class or AP?
Good. It's good. The end of December actually got a lot easier, which was good. That's why I didn't need tutoring as much because it was a lot of it was
I was super busy actually too. So I remember last time, yeah, usually at the end of the month, yeah.
Yeah,
Did you
no
guys have a
worries.
final? Did you guys have a final?
No, we didn't have a final. We had like it was just a test on like the chapter 8 and 10.
Okay.
It was actually one of like the easiest tests that he had given us. So I mean that was a relief. But
That's awesome. Yeah.
yeah, so we don't he said he doesn't even know if he's gonna give us a final at the end of the year other than the AP test.
Oh, so you guys do have a final, like final, and then the AP.
Yeah, usually we have midterms and then we have finals, and none of our teachers gave us midterms, and they don't think they're gonna give us finals this year either.
That's fine. Yeah, because like it would be like a take-home final.
Yeah, exactly.
Which are fun. I think those are good because it's kind of like a bona fide homework, you know?
Right, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know, like a lot of the things that you guys, so what did you guys end with last, I guess in December? What did you guys end with? Because I
It
remember
was like an introduction to methods and
you guys did functions, okay?
yeah.
Did you guys do loops? I don't know.
No, I don't think we've even done those yet. I think
You
he
guys
just
haven't done
started
those.
talking about them this week. Because I remember him mentioning them, but he didn't like go into them or anything. Because a kid asked about him, he goes, "We'll talk about it later," and I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, everything's always later.
Yep, exactly.
You have to learn it on your own. But
Yeah.
okay. The reason why I ask is like loops they actually come before, like as I was looking at the homework you guys have like right now,
Mhm.
and then you have to actually know loops beforehand, like
Right.
before you actually do collections or like all of these stuff.
See, that's what I thought. That's why I was getting confused. I was like,
Also,
what?
that's probably why someone asks, because like you didn't teach us this yet, and you're
Exactly.
expecting us. Yeah. There's different ways of like doing it. Did you guys already have a lesson on this, the collections?
Um,
Kind of like, or like examples. We can go over. I think it's good if we, because the one thing with like collections, or like array, whatever these are. Arrays are just objects. Like they're like really big in like Java.
yeah.
There's like a whole set of like just names for them. And then like the first one that comes up is like arrays. So if you don't learn like the beginning part, like I think doing all these like from scratch is gonna be good because then they're all kind of like they're all kind of the same. They're just
Right.
different fruits of like the same tree.
Right.
Or so like what you have to do is really just like maybe you guys have the books, right? You have books or like a textbook on this.
Yeah, we have an online textbook.
Okay. Yeah, because like this is gonna be something like if you learn collections now, it will help you in the end because You probably have you did you guys learn like matrices and vectors yet?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, because this arrays, you know how like I think last time you defined like numbers and strings, right?
Yeah.
So that's like one single thing, and you define them one by one.
Right.
So, but with collections, you're gonna put them in like a database, in like a table, in
Okay.
essence. Yeah. So, like if we learn, like first of all, you learn like one dimensional. It's like a vector is just one, like, you know, if you've seen a vector, like a column, right, of a table.
Yeah.
Or a row, that's just what it is. That's an array, right? That's what an
Right.
array is. It's just
Right.
a row or a column.
Okay.
And then you have like matrices, and a matrix is like, or matrix is just a two-dimensional array or
Okay.
vector. Yeah. Which I think this homework does cover that. There's like one or two things where you have to create like a 2D array. So we can probably go over that. Which one did you want to go over first? I think it's better. Do you want to do the thing where you can just like do it and then I'll help you out? I think that would be helpful.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna do it like in order of the assignments, like in order. So the one that we can start with is the 1AB, 2AB, CB. Let me find
I don't know what assignment number we're on, so I just put 16.
Yeah, you're fine.
What assignment number are you guys on?
I'm assignment 31.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I was off like hell.
Wait, let me see.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find which one it is. Problem 1B. Maybe was this? Was it problem 1B? Let me check.
1B, let me see.
Because for me, it's not like automatically downloading when I open the thing that you sent me.
Are you guys still using Dr. Java or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, 1AB. So that one is that the most recent? Yeah, one you sent me.
Let me see.
So anyway, I'll just go on and see what it says. I mean, I can always go in the thing and check.
Okay. You want to share your screen?
Yeah, let me do that right now. It's kind of a mess. Okay.
It's fine. It's always, the thing is like, this is like the beginning. The last time you guys began with like defining variables, right?
Yes.
It always starts like this. You have to define the arrays.
Right.
But the thing is, there's actually this thing called array lists, which I think your professor or your teacher is going to talk about later on, which is like way better. You don't ever use arrays. You use array lists. Let's look at this.
Right. Yeah, because I was absent like
arrays, okay.
for first couple of lessons. So he was like, yeah, I'll give you until like the end of next week, which is this week, to
That's
like
fine.
redo like the 3 assignments that I missed. That's why I was like, yeah, I should probably do those.
Okay.
Okay, I think this is 1A and 1B.
Okay, let's start with the first. It's really not the hard. Say write a statement that declares an array of 3 integers, initialize. Okay. Do you know what that's saying first? It's always like interpreting before coding first. Yeah.
So I have to write a statement that declares like declares like a row or like a column.
Yeah.
Of 3 integers.
Okay, the integers part, yeah, that's simple. That's the 1 to 4. Okay.
Yeah, the 1 to 4 I don't get. Initialize to 1 to 4.
Okay, declaring and then initializing, that's kind of like similar to a variable, right?
Right.
It's like this is just another object. Like a variable, as what you did before. You're like super pro with that. You could declare it and initialize it with a variable name, right?
Right.
Let's actually do that. And but then now you're talking about a different object, which is an array.
Okay.
So like an array, just think about an array like a group of integers, a group of strings. It's exactly what you did before, but now it's just a group of them. And you're putting them inside this object, which is called a table. But then a table is just layman's terms for an array. In Java, they call it array or array list. And then this whole umbrella of it is called collection, which I think if it's the same thing, you guys will cover different like objects of array. So Okay. So write a statement. So when you're saying declare and initialize, that you just have to like define like a variable. So like as what you did before, you have to declare a variable that you're gonna put 1, 2, 4 in.
Okay.
So let's try to do that one. Let's see.
Okay. Because so should I do it on here? Because pretty much what he wants us to do is like, wait, let me open Schoology real quick because
Okay.
there was like one thing he said that was like, yeah, like,
Okay.
you can't like you can't like do this.
You still have to put it in Word. I remember you guys put it in Word before.
Yeah, we have to put it in Word. That's why I was like, wait, no, not this. I think it was this one. Yeah. Okay. It says a block of code, not a method.
That's fine. Yeah, that just means it's a program.
Okay.
Like, do you remember when you did like public static void main?
Yeah.
So that's like the program, and he doesn't want a method, which is what you call. It's like a function, right?
Right.
Yeah. So so he doesn't want you to write a function.
Right.
We'll just write it from scratch. Like everything has to be defined. Okay, that's
And
fine.
I think I still have to use Easy Reader too.
Oh yeah, I'm not so familiar with it. I remember you.
Let me open one of my.
You remember that one? Yeah. I used to use Scanner.
Yeah, it took me so long to like even understand a little bit of how to do Easy Reader. No, this one doesn't have Easy Reader on it.
We will. The one of the good things about what's it called? So I think for these first few ones, you don't have to really like read an input.
Okay.
But like you could, and then once you, because like every time you learn like the static, right? Because like every time you put in like an input, it becomes very dynamic.
Right.
You can change it and whatever. But yeah, like for this first one, I think it's okay to do it statically. Like you can definitely just define it manually. Okay.
Assignment. What assignment is it? 31.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna put problem 1B, I think it was.
Yeah.
And
then
I'm gonna have to do this.
Yeah.
Or the other way.
Yeah, that's why I always hate Java. I don't know. How do you feel about it so far? It's like halfway through already.
I mean, I feel like at first I really, really just did not enjoy it.
Yeah, but it does get easier though, right? It gets
Yes. Once you like get it, I mean, just because like coming back from like not doing it for 3 weeks, you gotta like get back into it, which is kind of like the frustrating part. But I think just in general, like I've enjoyed learning it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then the thing is, like, I think I remember saying, like, if you learn Java like really well, like now, it will help you in the long run with Python. Like Python is the one that you need to learn, really.
Right. See, that's I want to take. I don't know if they even teach Python at Brown.
Python's the only thing you need because like that's what's being used. But learning Java is harder than learning Python. That's the thing, which is
really. Are you serious?
Yeah, Python is it became. The reason why they made Python like maybe 20 years ago is because like for people that don't really have a background in computer science,
right?
But then they want to apply it, and that's the thing. They want to apply computer science, but they don't have background. So they take out all these like this public static void. It's like primitive, like why do you need to define everything?
Exactly. That is so. Wow. Yeah. I'm.
Okay. All right. So. I guess this is the boilerplate stuff. So I guess the one thing I don't know if you guys have to do this, but this is what I always do, like with arrays. You know how like an array you define like the size of it. Right. You probably learned this from your lecture. So an array has like if you have 3 by 1, that's how you usually say what a vector is. So it's like 3 different rows or 3 different columns in 1 row. 1 row. But then the size of it, you have to declare it as a constant. That's the convention. So that's what I usually do first. I put final int. Okay. Because when you do a constant, you have to put final, right? Right. Yeah. And then whatever, size or elements. Usually the things inside an array is called an element. Okay. So then should I put element? You can put a size because it's up to you. I'm just saying that yeah, usually that's what in convention it's called an element. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So how do you know? How do you know what the size is? You look at how many numbers you have, right?
Right. So we have 3.
Okay. So that's what that is.
Oh, okay, 3.
Just like an insert. So an array right now is kind of like a primitive version of an array list.
Mm-hmm.
And an array list, you don't have to define the size, which is better, right? Because if you think
Right.
about it, what if you don't know the size of your database?
Right.
You don't want to be defining the size up front because you don't know, right? Like sometimes
Right.
you don't know how many data you put inside a table.
Right.
Yeah. But in this instance, yeah, you have to define the size. That's like the very first step. And
Okay.
then the second thing, it's kind of like when you defined a variable, like a string variable, an integer variable, right? Or like a double float, whatever.
Yeah.
You usually just put int or double, right? Or float.
Yeah.
But an array, it's like a set or a group of things, so you have to put brackets, like
Okay.
two brackets. Yeah, 2 square brackets like that, yeah. And then the next thing, so that's declaring it, the data type, and now you want to put in the variable name, right?
Mm-hmm.
So very similar. It's always good to see like a relationship between like what you did before last year and then what you're gonna go towards.
Right.
They're all connected. It's just, you know, a bunch of branches. So okay. So then
I'm just gonna put like array.
yeah. Did I tell you about like the cases, the variable and then class, like uppercase, lowercase? I think I did. I forget.
Yeah, you probably did. So then do I have to put it uppercase?
So when you're
Or no?
declaring a variable in programming, you usually use snakehead.
Okay.
So like so you have everything in lowercase, but you don't have spaces. You have every time you see a space, you put in an underscore.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that's like a snakehead case.
So now I have to keep it like that.
So like array, you could just put array if you want. But if you have like 2 words, you could put in like
an underscore.
yeah. That's usually the way you define the variables.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So you have this done. You have the variable. You have the data type.
Right.
And then now you put in a new keyword, right? There's 2 ways.
Right.
There's really 2 ways of defining this.
Mm-hmm.
You could either not have the new.
Okay.
Yeah. Or you could, and then you have to define like kind of like the variable, an empty variable of an array, and then you fill it in. That's like one way.
Okay.
The second way is combining those 2 things.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. I think, I don't know, what did you guys do in your notes? What was it, declaring it as an empty set and then adding to it, or was it all at once?
No, I think it was all at once.
Okay, if it's all at once, what you have to do is just put in the curly brace. So curly brace with the numbers.
So 1, 2, and 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. So this is how you do it. I guess it's like the more streamlined way.
Okay.
And I think that's it. So you have a 3 size array. Oh yeah, the other thing is, so you know the size of the array.
Okay.
They call this size declarator. But then like when you're indexing it, another word that comes up really every time that you talk about arrays or collections is how do you index an array? And indexing just means like what are the different elements and how can you access them? For example, 1, right? 1, 2, 4.
Right.
So 1, the position in that index, the index of 1, which is like the position, that's the same thing, index. So the position of 1 in Java, it always starts with 0. You guys probably talked about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Same with Python. So that's why it's really there's C++ and other languages, they start with 1.
Okay.
But like in Java, you start with 0, and it tricks people in the beginning. But for example, like, you know, the size is 3, right?
Right.
But you start with 0, so it's 0, 1, 2.
1, 2. Okay.
Yeah. So as long as you know that, that's good. Same. So now this is like 1 liner, and then when you have like a matrix or a 2D array, the same thing applies. But then there's a vertical and horizontal now.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay, so let's see what you have. So rest statement, declare. I think we're good. And then you just have to output it if you want to. But I think
if I want to just keep it like that, do you think that that's like
It's up to your teacher. Does he want you guys to output it?
No, I don't think so.
It looks like it says just write a statement. So this is
Yeah.
the statement, yeah.
Okay, so we can put this. Let's go here. 1B, I think, yeah. Okay, there we go. Now the next one was, or no, that's one. Is that 1A?
I think it's 1A, yeah.
Yeah, it is 1A. Oh shoot, then let me switch that real quick. 1A. And then let me. I'm just gonna save this in here, anyways. Rename. There we go. Save. Okay. New. Now let's do 1B.
Okay. Oh yeah. The other thing is to when you're outputting array, you know how like in like when you're just doing it single-handedly with like variables, when you system out print it, you could just print it by itself, right?
Right.
Yeah. But I think we should cover at least one where you have to print it because you have to do a for loop. You have to do a for loop, or you can just output the array with brackets. There's like two ways. Okay.
Okay, write an expression that represents the sum of the three elements of the above array. So it's like just like an add-on to 1A.
Yeah. So when you sum the sums of three elements, regardless of the number of values. Okay. Okay. For this one, you could either. Okay, so that's what I did. So when you do sums, this is a very important skill. They call it accumulator.
Okay.
And then you have, it's like an accumulator is what it is really is. You start off with something that's 0, and it accumulates, meaning like you're adding to it.
Okay.
So we'll try this out. This one's like a little weird in the beginning, but then once you do it, it's like, okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, so it's the same exact thing. Let's just start up. The one thing here that I wasn't clear about is regardless of their current values. Do you have to input them regardless of their current values, it says?
I mean, it doesn't say anything about that on like.
Okay, so we'll just do it like statically. Same thing as what you did with the other one. We'll just build on it. We can just build to what you have.
Real quick, I'm gonna see if it says anything about it. Yeah, no, it doesn't say anything. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll do that then. So can I start it the same way I started like the last one? Of like the final.
Yeah. It's up. Do you wanna? Yeah, because you are gonna put this. Yeah, let's just do it that way. The way I did it was I used a scanner. Okay.
Oh, okay.
But let's do it the way that you did, and then we'll define an accumulator.
Okay. Final int size equals 3, and then the int, then the brackets array equals, I think we did, yeah, the curly braces 1, 2, and 4.
Okay, so this is what you have, and then I think since in the beginning you usually like define them or initialize them. The next thing is we should initialize the accumulator. So the accumulator is just a number, so it's not like a group or it's not a collection. So it's the same as what you did before. So like it's an integer because you have a group of integers.
Okay.
And then whatever people usually call it total. Like I just called it sum of an array, but people usually call it total, yeah.
Okay. Total equals, and then
0, yeah, equals 0 because they call us initializing the variable. So because you're gonna add to it in the for loop.
Right.
Okay, so you have it all set up, and then now the next thing is let's do the for loop. So have you done one before? I forget if we talked about for loops.
I don't think I mean, in class, I don't think I've done that before.
Okay, because I don't know if you have to do it statically. The thing is, like, this is the most streamlined way. Let's just talk about it, and then maybe you can ask your teacher.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing with the for loop is the keyword for, so you have to put in for.
Like the word?
Yeah, so it's a for loop. So there you go, it's blue, so that's good. And then what you put after the for loop, the word for keyword, is you put a parentheses, and then I'll talk about what goes inside. So okay, so there's three things that go inside the parentheses of for loop. We call this a condition, kind of like a if statement is a condition, right?
Right.
But a for loop, what it, I'll tell you just in one sentence, like what it is like you're defining, like for example, you want to do something like many times, you're iterating, right?
Right.
And you know the amount of times you have to iterate. This is when you use a for loop, when you have to iterate it like 3 times, 4 times. In this case, you know how many times you have to iterate, right?
Yeah.
3. If you don't know, you have to use a while loop. But then, so the while loop will keep on doing it until it's false. Like the condition is false. But then the for loop, it does it until it's true.
Okay.
And until it's done with the sequence, pretty much. So that's why you know how many times you do it. And how do you like tell the computer how to where to start and then where to end, and how many times you have to like step? This is where we put it inside the parentheses. So the very first argument of the for loop is where you start.
Okay.
So you put an int, and then whatever variable. I usually start with index. You can put A, B, whatever letter, I. Usually people put I. Keep it simple, and then equal 0, because in Java you always start with 0, right?
Right.
And then this 0 this will associate with 1, so it's going to start out with 1, right, in that array.
Right.
And then now the second argument here is where do we end? Like how long are we going to run this?
Right.
So how you write that is the same I, the index I. They sometimes call this a counter. This I is sometimes called a counter in loops. But in a collection, I call it index. So this I, now you're defining where you're going to end. So that's why you put in I less than, so up to, and then what's your indicator here?
Size.
Exactly, yeah. So that's why you put size there to make it automatic. You could hard code it, but you want to make it general. Okay, so the third thing. So does those two make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so that's mainly what it is. And then the next thing, the last thing you want to ask, like, how do I want to iterate? Like, what are the steps from 0 to 3? Do I want to go 2? Do you want by 2 or by 3? But then in most cases, it's always by 1. Okay. So like, do you remember putting when you put in 2 plus signs, and when you do like I plus plus,
right?
What ends up happening is you're just adding 1 every time.
Okay. Okay.
So the convention is always the counter variable, which is I, and you put plus plus. That's going forward 1. You could actually go backwards as well, but then you have to change where you start and end. Right. You can experiment, play with this later on, like maybe start with 3 and then change the less than to greater than. Okay. But there's some logic issue. Yeah, you always that has to be decreasing, right? And you're changing the plus plus to minus minus. For the most part, it's always like this. This is like boilerplate for the most part. So now you're done with defining how the for loop is gonna run. And then the same thing with the if else statement. You have to define the body of the loop, right? The body of the statement. So let's do that. Let's put in the braces first. Like this? Yeah. And then, so let's look at this. So this is kind of boilerplate. So now, just to relate it back, so you initialize the total, right? The accumulator, they call it the accumulator. So what the concept here is, so you start out with 0. Okay. And then you go to, you're gonna increase the amount of total by adding 1, by adding 2, and by adding 4. You're gonna put it inside 0, inside total. Okay. So you're gonna do 0 plus 1, and then total becomes 1 now for the first iteration. And then the second iteration, 1 plus 2, now it becomes 3, right? Right. And then the third last iteration, when size is 3, or I is 3, or 0, 1, 2. Once I is 2, and then it adds 4 to total. So 1 plus 2 plus 4.
Okay.
So the first step here is it goes to 0, and the second step it goes to 1, right?
Right.
And the third step it goes to 2.
The 2.
And then it will just run through your array list that you define.
Okay.
So how are we gonna do that?
Okay.
You probably can, like, yeah, that's the concept. So I think there's like 2 ways of doing it. There's the simple way I have is the short way.
Could you just like output it?
So you put in, so you have total, the accumulator, you have to replace it. So you put in total.
Like just like total?
Yeah, and then now you're gonna replace it, right? Every iteration, you're gonna replace. So you make it equal some plus equals. You can either do plus equals or total equals total plus. Does the plus equal make sense?
Yeah, it does. Okay.
Because you could either do total equal total or total plus equal, and then just don't put total again.
Okay.
So plus equal, and then whatever. What are you trying to do here? You're trying to run through what?
All the arrays.
Okay, so you put an array. Okay. And then how are you gonna, the question here is, how are you gonna access each individual element, 1, 2, and 4? How is it possible for you to access any of those? This is a really, like, this concept right here is like, it's very helpful because like for loops and arrays they go hand in hand.
Yeah. So do you have to use the for loop to access all of them?
So you know how like the for loop, you have a flag, right, or counter I?
Right.
How are you gonna relate the I counter to the array? So you can go iterate from 1, 2, and 4. There's a bracket, right? Like
right.
So the convention is, so you have the variable array,
okay,
collection, and then you put in brackets, and then whatever you put inside is gonna change. What is that thing that's gonna change every time you iterate in the loop?
you're adding
your I, right? Your counter.
Yeah.
So you put an I there.
Okay.
And then that's it.
That's it?
Yeah. Does this make sense? This for loops in the beginning are weird, but then once you like, let me ask first, does the for loop right now make sense? The condition makes sense, but then what
The
about
concept makes sense.
the concept?
I just feel like if I like continue doing it in different like situations.
Exactly. Yeah. It's usually that way. Like once you say it in many ways, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Right.
But yeah, so what it's doing here is you start out with 0, and then you keep on adding the 0. This for loop int, and then it goes from 0 to 3, right? But not including 3.
Right.
The I is gonna keep on changing. So the very first instance, it's 0, and it's gonna do array of 0. What is array of 0? What number is that?
1.
1. So it's gonna add 1 to 0, right? That's the first
Right.
iteration.
Yeah.
And then now it's gonna go back and iterate. Now you're increasing the I by 1 because you did I plus plus, right?
Got it.
So you increase it 1, so now I equals 1. And then so you put array of 1 is what?
Is 1?
2?
No, 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So now array is 2, array 1 is 2. And then
Right.
what was total before?
Total was 1 plus 2 plus 4, right?
In the first iteration, what was total?
Was it like 1 plus 2 plus 3?
1, first iteration, 0 plus 1, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I usually write this in the beginning, like when, once you like, but then talking about it is still the same thing. So
Right.
in the first iteration, you started with 0, obviously. That's not an iteration.
Yeah.
And then in the first iteration, you add 1 to it. So total is 1.
1.
And then now the second iteration, you're putting 2 inside array, right? Or you're accessing 2 in the array.
Right.
And then now you're gonna add that to total, which was 1 in the first iteration.
Right.
So now it's 3 in the second iteration, right?
Okay.
And now you increase the counter by 1 again because I plus plus.
And that'll be 4.
And then yeah, same thing goes, and then until it's done until you reach size. And that's how it works. It can get more complicated with like sometimes there's a double for loop, which is like super weird to visualize.
Okay.
But like here's the relationship. You always want to find a relationship. When you're working with an array is just a one-dimensional row or column, right?
Right.
And then when you want to access an array using a for loop, if it's one-dimensional, you have one for loop.
Yeah.
If it's a table or a matrix or a database or data frame, they're all the same words, which is like a bunch of rows and columns. So it's two-dimensional. You use a double for loop.
Right.
Because you're accessing the columns and you're also accessing the rows.
Okay.
Yeah, so right now, like that's where you're gonna head, and then this is where it starts.
Right.
So yeah, so like if you understand this little bit, it's like, oh, now I know why you're doing another for loop, because you have a row besides like a column.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That makes sense. Do I end it with a semicolon?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that's it. Let me see. Right, expand the represents the sum. Let's actually system out it just to look at it.
Okay.
So like it gives you more traction to what you just created.
Okay. System.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, if you put it inside, let's look at it. So sometimes when it's inside, you're gonna see what it is like 3 times, I think.
Okay, so I'd have to do the like elements. Or sorry.
Just put in the total.
Okay.
Yeah, total is gonna be the one that's gonna sum it. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, try see what this prints out.
Oh, yeah. Shame.
What?
Let me close these. Okay.
Oh, it works. Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
I don't know.
Try putting the system that print line. Is it print line?
Oh yeah, you're right. Thank you.
Let me see if that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait.
So you know how like it's inside the for loop.
Right.
I was kind of interested in what, because I always say this, like if it's inside the for loop, that's when you check it.
Right.
Check it with like what we talk about, right? Like the first iteration is 1, and then 3.
Right.
And then 7. If you put it outside, try putting it outside. So after the first curly brace, closing. After so the system dot out, put that outside the after the first closing curly brace. Yeah, right there. Yeah, can see what the difference is. So that's the difference. So if you're debugging your code, it's good to put it like a for loop, especially because you have no traction on what the heck happened inside.
Right.
You usually put a system out or display, system out print inside. If you don't want to do that, you're done. You always want to do that, but then after you're done, like you're giving it to someone else, you want to put in the system outside so that you just have the final answer.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, this is pretty much what it is.
Okay, perfect. Put that in. 1B. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just gonna take that out. Okay. What else? What was next? B 2A, which is this one.
For these ones, I think it's just answering it.
It is.
Let's try to go through it.
Okay.
And then think about it. I didn't actually answer these ones. Let's see. The following array has 101 elements. And it says 100. Usually the number of elements, like what you define there is the number of elements already.
Right, so then that would be false.
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually, yeah, that's what it is. It's just the index is the one that's gonna change.
2A. False. I'm just gonna put when it's false, I'll say why it's false. Because usually when whatever amount of elements you initialize there are the amount.
Yeah. It's just the index is gonna change. So it's gonna go from 0 to 99.
Okay. So can I put just like it'll go from 0 to 99?
Yeah, and then if you count the number of elements from 0 to 99, it's 100, not 101.
Right.
Yeah. This is a concept that they just want to know if you know where it starts.
Right.
Okay.
To B. Java syntax allows programmers to use any expression of the int data type as an array subscript.
Allows programmers to use any expression of the int data type array subscript. Use any expression of the int data type as an array subscript. I know subscripting means like when it's the same thing as indexing.
Right.
So Whopper has using the expression of the int data. I mean any expression. What do you think of this one?
I think it's true.
Okay. Why?
Because every time we're trying to like initialize an array, we use the int.
Okay, let me actually see. Yeah, I think it's true. Yeah.
Okay.
The thing is with the any expression. Yeah, it could be any expression. Okay. All right. Well, what about the next one?
Okay. To C. While a program is running, it verifies that all array subscripts fall into the valid range.
Well, program is running, it verifies that all subscript, which is the index, fall into the valid range. So it knows it. So while program is running, it verifies that all arrays fall into the, so it knows it. Yeah, this is the exception thing. I guess Java does it, like, for example, we didn't actually do it, but you could actually test it. Like, what if you did like, this for loop, like
Yeah.
instead of going to size, what if you went to like 5,
Right.
Because like the size, it's automatic, it's gonna go up to the maximum. But what if you went overbound, like out of bounds?
Right.
It'll give you an exception. If you want to test it, you can. But that's what it says. Verifies. It verifies it. Let's see what it does. Yeah, let's see what the exception is. So out of bounds exception. It says 3. So that's what it wants you to do.
Okay, compile. Run.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I think you guys might actually cover exception later on. Sometimes it gives you an error, but when it gives you an exception, it will still run. But I think this is what it says. It verifies. So this one should be true.
Yeah. Okay. True, and then last one is 2D. Any one-dimensional array object has a length method that returns the size of the array.
It seems like it's true because the length is another thing that tells you about the size. You could actually, if you did like, what is it called? Array.length, like system.out.print array.length, it will give you the size. Try that one just to test it out.
Array.length?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Which is a method.
Yeah, 3. Okay. Cool. So let me put true.
Okay.
All right, and then let's see what else is on here. 4 and 5.
All right, let's look at that one.
Okay, 4 is an array of integer scores has at least 2 elements, and its elements are arranged in ascending order. That is, scores I is less than or equal to scores I plus 1. Write a condition that tests whether all the elements in scores have the same values. Hint, you do not need iterations. Yeah,
that one. So that means you can't use for loops, which sucks. Because usually, you would think, because it says do not need iteration. Okay, let's see.
Okay. Let me new.
So, conceptual, like concept wise. So what is this one asking?
Okay, so let's see. So it's asking that, like, I'm reading it again. Okay. So
In your own words.
yeah, let's see. Just reads back the problem in a random. It's
I know, what is it
asking,
asking? Exactly verbatim.
write a condition that okay, so it's giving us is the scores bracket I like is less than the scores, is that it's giving us the elements, right?
Yeah, it's just going through, like, it's just saying ascending or arrange. We'll talk about sorting later on, but it's just
Okay.
saying that it's in ascending order.
Okay. It's asking us to see if, like, score bracket I has, like, the same values, I guess, as the score I plus 1.
Yeah, it's just pretty much like, so you have, like, for example, the one that you defined for 1, 2, and 4, right?
Right.
And then you have to write like a code where it says you're gonna check if 1, 2, and 4 are all equal.
Okay.
And then you can't go through each one like what we did here, like for loop, and then check is the beginning, is the first one equal the second one? You cannot do that one.
Okay.
So there's I guess we'll just do the way I did it. Like, you can create like a same, like if it's all the same.
Okay.
So the very first thing here is you would define, and you're gonna use that length, method.
Okay.
So let's see. Let's create like just some methods, public static, and then not the main. But when you're checking something, what does that tell you? Is it like what kind of data type is that? If it's like all the same, or what if it's not all the same? What are you expecting the output is going to be?
I feel like this is wrong. Is it like a Boolean?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah. So every time you're checking something, this is like one of the very first ones. There's another one, I think later on, that you guys will like probably do, but where it's like all positive, all negative. This is like
Right.
one of the first ones.
Okay.
So you can call this function or method like anything, but maybe like I just put is all same. That's what I did.
I'll put that. Is all same. And this the string would be an int.
Yeah.
And this would be I can call it whatever, right?
Yeah, for so what we're trying to do here is, so let's see. Oh, what did I do? Okay. You can so for the one, because we're talking about scores, right?
Right.
Yeah. So scores, the same thing as what you did if it wasn't like a collection or a list. So you did the data type and then you call it whatever, scores is what they want you to do. So
got it.
And then so now let's actually define the method. What are we trying to do here? So what I did is I just used an array like program. You probably have to import it though. There's probably another way of doing this, but I just did it this way.
Okay, so do I do?
Yeah, you have to do it. You have to import something first.
Oh, what do I import?
Okay, so yeah, it goes outside the class.
Yeah.
And you're gonna use this like arrays for matrices later on as well, which is, I think it's good to know it now. So same thing with scanner, right? Or like easy reader, you imported those. So this one is gonna be Java util.arrays.
Okay.
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 And so what I did here is I declared, so you do have an array.
Okay.
Like, so you have an array. So it's gonna be like an int. And
brackets.
Yeah.
And then could I just name it like array like 1 or something?
Yeah, like the very first item of your array, or like you could put like array 1. Yeah, you could do that.
equals, and I have to do the new int thing, right?
Yeah.
Int.
But in this case, you have to put in like the length, because then you're going from the first to like the end.
Okay.
So that's why it's int, and then you put in like the variable, the dummy variable scores up to like the end, right? The end. So scores that length.
Okay.
I don't know why he doesn't want you guys to use a for loop here. It's more intuitive if you did a for loop. But I think it would take a while if you did a for loop. This way it's like just three, even though it's just 3 lines, it's faster. Okay.
Right.
So that's the first thing. The first thing is just you define this first item, which is gonna be a new. That's the size of it is the size of your dummy variable.
Right.
So this array is going to be another array that's defined as the same size as what you have for scores. So the next thing is you're going to fill this array because you defined it as an empty array, right?
Yeah.
So now you're going to fill it in. And then how you do that is the word array with a capital
Right.
A. Yeah. And then you're going to use one of the methods or functions of array. And the way that they do this is you put fill. So arrays.fill. It has to be an arrays.
Oh, with an S.
Yeah, that's just syntax.
Got it.
And then, so it's a function, it's a method. So it has arguments. So you have to put in parentheses. So inside, what you put inside here, the argument arrays.fill, it is what it is. You're going to fill the empty array 1, right? Yeah.
Right.
The first argument is what is your empty array?
Okay.
The empty array that you just defined.
Is just the what's it called? The array 1.
Yeah.
So I have to write that in there.
Yeah. And so the second argument of arrays.fill is, let's start with the very first one. It's kind of like the same with a for loop, right?
Right.
So, but he doesn't want you to iterate. So, okay, let's not iterate. So score, and then what is the one that you're trying to fill array 1 with?
Scores.
Scores, yeah. And you start with the very first element.
Which is 0.
Which is 0. It has to be a bracket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that sometimes when you're doing collections, it's the same with Python. You're going to be using brackets versus like parentheses, which is for functions. Okay.
Right.
So
and then I don't have to put it's just a comma, right? Not a semicolon.
Yeah. Inside, yeah, because it's just 2 arguments. Okay.
Okay.
So these 2 things, these 2 lines, does it make sense? Like you define empty and you're filling it now.
Yeah.
And the reason why you have this empty array because you're gonna define them.
Right.
Like if they're the same, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're gonna go one by one if they're all the same, and then how you're gonna compare each element without using a for loop. So with every method, you have to what do you have to do? You have to output, right? Something.
Yeah, you have to.
So what is that word when you're outputting something in a method?
You have to return something.
Yeah. So the word, you have to return.
And then it would be like the equals. So array. It's the arrays with the S.
Yeah, arrays with an S, and this next method of arrays it's gonna check. The last thing here is you have to check if the original thing that you're trying to compare inside scores,
right,
is the same as your array 1.
Right.
So yeah, that's and that's what you have to put in there. So you're gonna put in scores as your first argument, which is the very first one.
Right.
And the next thing is what you just defined.
The array 1.
Yeah. So this is what it's doing. You're pretty much just defining a new one, and then you're gonna go through each element, which is the same as the for loop.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're gonna compare each element by element using dot equals.
Okay.
And then I think that's what it wants you to do, right? Just whether all elements and scores have the same.
Okay.
We don't have to output anything, but it's pretty much the same thing as what you did.
Okay, so I'm gonna put that 4. Perfect. And then 5 is the last one on this assignment. Okay. Write a method get random RPS that returns a character R, P, or S chosen randomly with odds of 3, 5, or 6, or yeah, odds 3, 5, 6, respectively.
Yeah, this one is actually a hard one.
Yeah, I can tell.
But like, let's just go. Let's conceptual wise, like, what is it asking you?
It's pretty much asking me to just make like a method or like a line of code that pretty much returns like R, P, or S like at like randomly, like at random.
So there's random. So random is a key thing to do.
Right, but I don't think the
RPS.
odds are 5, 6 thing.
So we have a proportion here of like the amount of ways that you're supposed to get them, right?
Right.
And then, so like, this is the thing that stumps you, but it's not that bad. Like, if you have like a ratio of things,
Yeah.
just like a small statistics thing, like you can do a total statistic, right? Or like proportion. So you can just have like how many elements? You can have 14. You can add all of them, 3, 5, and 6.
Right.
And then 3 by 14 would be the ratio of R, and 5 by 14 would be P, right?
Yeah.
And 6 by 14 is S. So the easiest way is, why don't we define a list that has 14 characters or elements in it?
Okay.
And then like after you do the 14 characters, the next thing would be using math.random. Because math.random allows you to pick out any of those characters, right?
Right.
But then the thing is, how do you make math.random? Because math.random gives you a number. It doesn't give you like a letter.
Right.
So math.random, what you would do here is you have to make this list, this RPS list, into like it will have to return an integer.
Okay.
And then each one of those integers is associated with the character.
Okay.
It's kind of like, after this, I think there's a thing, I think it's like problem 12 where you have to do Scrabble.
Oh.
Yeah, this is kind of like a preliminary for Scrabble. Like,
Okay.
you know, when you have like the word and then it adds
Right.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because each letter has like an index score.
Yeah.
This is kind of similar to that, like what we're gonna do here. Okay, and then after that, so that's the concept, and then you output the score, which is like something you already know. So there's 3 steps.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So what I would do first is this is kind of different. It's not an integer, right?
Right.
So
a character.
You have to define like a character.
Right.
Data type. So how would you do that?
You would change the public static void main thing, right?
No. So we're not doing a method in the first one. Yeah. You would do public static car. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. So I have to change that to car.
Yeah, because that would be the output or return.
Right. And then I would have to change, there wouldn't be this string or anything.
Yeah.
Take that out. Oh. Okay.
And then the name of it. It gives you the name of it, which is good. I guess you have to follow it.
Random RPS. And then I guess I have to put these.
So does that make, like, it doesn't have any arguments? Sometimes it's like, oh, why doesn't it have any arguments? Because you're just gonna put it inside a character. You're not actually feeding it anything.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because this RPS is defined inside, right?
Yeah.
It's not defined like outside. So okay. So the first thing is, so now we have to initialize like data type. So and it's a character data type. So instead of int bracket, you put car bracket.
Car bracket.
And then the most logical thing to name it, I just name it RPS. So,
yeah.
Because that's going to be a set of like characters with RP and S.
Right.
And then so same thing with how you define an integer, you put new. Yeah. In this case, you know how we're defining this? This is the second way. How you did it in like number 1 and 2. You did it without putting the new keyword in there, right?
Right.
That's the first way. That's the more like manual way, I would say.
Okay.
Like static way, I'm not like, I guess if you're gonna do more like dynamic or like automatic, where you can add to it, this is the most logical way. When you define like a collection or like an array with new, and then the next thing, it's kind of repetitive. Your thing is like, why do you have to do this again?
Right.
Car RPS, the left-hand side of the equation, that's declaring it. And then the right-hand side is like initializing it to an empty list. But how many things are inside though? This is where you initialize it. You put bracket and you put the size of your character list.
Okay, so
array.
would I have to add 6, 5, and 3 together?
So the concept that, like, I guess there might be another way, but the concept that we're trying to do here is, so how many what's the easiest way of like getting RP and S inside the list, and then getting the odds of like 3 by 14. It could be like 28, right?
Right.
But I think the easiest way is doing like a total probability. So like 3 over the total amount, like 14, right? 3, 5 plus 6, yeah.
Yeah.
So I would probably create a character array with 14 elements. So just put in 14
with brackets.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason why we're using 14 is we're gonna define 3 R's, 5 P's, and 6 S's.
Right.
So that you're implementing the ratio by the amount of times that you define it. That's really the concept.
Okay.
Okay. So how would you let's see. How would you fill in the array with R's, P, and S?
Would I have to do like a for loop? Would I have to use a for loop?
Yeah, you have to do a for loop. Yeah.
Okay.
We've technically covered one. Try do it like on your own with the sun.
Okay.
It's really not bad because you know the amount of times that it has to show up, right?
Right. Can I use I?
Yeah, just use I. Usually it's the easiest.
Okay. Yeah. I equals, you have to start with 0, so 0.
Okay, good.
Semicolon. And you have to do I is less.
I'll be back in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, you're fine. Is less than 3 because that's what you're starting with. And then I plus plus. No, not 1. I plus plus. There you go. No, semicolon. I plus plus. And then there we go. Nope. And then it'll be like RPS array and bracket I bracket equals R.
All right, let's see. What do you have so far? Yeah, this is good.
Okay. What do I do? Like, I keep forgetting what I have to put in order to like make it R. Like, it's not a parent, or it's not like these. It's.
Oh yeah. So for characters, I think there's strings and characters aside. So strings is double quote, and then like characters is 1.
Characters is 1. Okay. Yeah. Like that.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly.
Because I thought I just replaced the RPS thing with the array thing with the RPS. Is that correct?
Yeah. So what are you doing? Like, let me just ask, like, what are you trying to do with these 2 lines?
Okay, so first you have to find like how, like, you have to initialize where you're starting.
Okay, good.
And you have to initialize where you're ending.
Good. Okay.
Which is the I is less than 3.
But not up to 3, right?
Right, not up to 3.
Up to 3, but not including 3.
Right. And then you have to say with the I plus plus that you're adding 1 every time you like from 0 to 3.
Exactly. Okay. And then what about line 10? What is that doing?
And then pretty much you're just saying like the RPS, which is when you up here when you initialize the character.
Yeah.
That you whenever it's like when you add where you start, like anytime from 0 to 3, but not including 3, then it would be R.
Exactly. So like you're pretty much like have this virtual like empty array RPS.
Right.
And then like you're going through you're marching towards like each element starting from 0, right?
Yeah.
And then you're just gonna shoot it and add in R in each one. That's really the concept. And then Then the next thing would be, so you have R now, that's 3 out of 14. Like there's R's in there.
Okay.
So you have to add in P and S. And then one thing is, like if you're imagining there's already R inside, right?
Right.
It's already inside this virtual RPS. So you have to start somewhere else. You can't start at 0 now.
You have to start at 3, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Would you go from 3 to
The thing is here is that always catches people, or like catches you know, like it's not hard, but like it's where you start and where you end.
Yeah, I don't know where I'd end for that. You wouldn't end at 5, right?
So for example, yeah, so it's kind of similar to the beginning one, like the R. So you know in the back of your mind there's 3 R's, right?
Right.
You have to have 3 R's, right?
Yeah.
So that's why you went from 0, 1, and 2, right?
Yeah.
So that's why you did it as I equals I less than 3.
Right.
It could have been let's see, it could have been less than or equal to 2. You could do that.
Okay.
Or less than 3, which is the same thing, right?
Right.
You know, take whatever way you want to do it, but this way I think it's more it's easier to read, because then the 3 comes down to the same thing as where you start with P.
Okay.
And so you go with 3 now. So this is where you start with P.
Right.
Because that's where you ended with R.
You ended with yeah.
Yeah. And then where do you end? So you go with 3 plus 5.
Which is 8.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, that makes sense, because you have to, like, if you were to end at 5, it would only be 2.
Exactly.
But you need to get it 5 times. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's how these things go. Yeah.
And then I plus.
Yeah.
And
another thing with this for loops, like right now it doesn't matter. You know how like you have the counter I?
Yeah.
So when you have one for loop, you can repeat I with, you know, any other for loop.
Right.
So you had I counter with R, I counter with P.
Yeah.
But if you stack them later on, when you do a matrix, you have to use different counters.
Okay.
Because they're gonna, like if for example you use I for the first loop, and then the second loop you can't use I again. It's gonna get confused. Right. You have to use J. If it's stacked, if it's like a double for loop, nested for loop. If it's like this, it's totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing that something that gives people errors, like, oh man, well, how come I can't? It's not iterating.
Right.
But that's usually the source of the error when you use when you reuse counter names.
Yeah.
Or variables.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so for this one now we have to do S. So int, and then you would start at 8.
Exactly, yeah.
I equals 8, and then this one would end at 14.
Yeah.
So I is less than 14. And then I plus. Oh my God, I literally still haven't figured out how to turn that noise off.
Well,
so
at least you know your computer.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it tells me, like, at least it like tells me when I press something. So if I accidentally press it, like I know that I pressed it, so I can like unpress it, you know. But it's still pretty annoying. Okay, like that.
Yeah, that looks good. So like we've defined the array now, right?
Yeah.
And then the second thing is, how do we know that like what to access? Because what you have to do here is you have to randomize it, right?
Right.
So when you randomize it, you have to use what? Math.random.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of like shuffling a deck of cards. It's like exactly what we're doing here.
Okay.
But then you only have 14 cards in essence.
Okay.
So what you have to do is, so it's gonna be the return now. You have to return the RPS. So this is why we're doing this. So RPS, and then whatever goes inside is, because whatever goes inside is gonna access either RP and S, right? Whatever number you're gonna set RPS. But you don't want it to be any number. You want it to be a random number, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we're defining. You could have defined this outside the return, like this int, but we're gonna define like a random math integer. So it's gonna be an integer.
Okay, so I have to do parentheses, int,
Yeah, and then the next thing is,
The math.
do you remember how, yeah, when you do the math at random, I think it gives you like 0 to 1 or something like that. And then you times it by the number of to make it a whole number.
Where's my?
Because you have the size. I think that, yeah, this 14, you could have made this into like a constant because you're hard coding it, but it's fine.
Right there. And then I have to end it in the end bracket. Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, so the line 18, does this one make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So step 1, defining the array. Step 2, randomizing, shuffling the deck of cards.
Right.
And then step 3 is
to return it, right?
Yeah. Let's actually do that one because because now you define the method. Now you want to use the method.
Right. So I have to.
You've done this before.
Do I have to do the? Wait.
Let me see if you remember.
I'm remembering. Yeah, I'm remembering.
There's always it's always a 2 stacker. There's a method, a bunch of methods, and there's one main program.
Oh, do I have to like add back the public static thing?
Yeah. Main.
Okay.
There's always one main and a bunch of methods.
Static.
The main uses the method. This is where you start the program.
Right. Main string data. Like that.
Yeah.
And then is that it?
And yeah, that's how you initialize it. Yeah, we're gonna add to it now. So you define this get random RPS, right?
Yeah.
And then this whole thing is like supposedly gonna give you what? It's gonna give you R, P, and S in a random order with the odds 3, 5, and 6.
Right.
So now you want to initiate this. You want to put it inside a variable, right?
Right.
So that's the first thing. You want to put it you want to define another variable. We've done this with which one was that? I forget already. The time could have been like something.
Was it elapsed time?
Yeah, something like that. It's always like this. Like you define it.
So you define a character,
and then you redefine the actual character that's gonna take in whatever method. Like
what did you write for what word did you put for a character?
Usually I just whatever is like RPS var. I usually just put that because you had an RPS right before.
Yeah, RPS.
You can put I just put C, but make it descriptive though. RPS var sounds better.
Yeah, RPS
underscore var.
Oh, underscore var. I was like,
because it's the actual variable.
Where's the underscore on my keyboard? There. Okay.
Yeah, get, and then what do you do? What do you do with this one? You just put
get random RPS, and then these.
Yeah.
And you do that.
So yeah, like this is the usual typical way you initiate it, and then now system that out. Same thing as usual.
Oh gosh. Okay. I would have to put in C or whatever the RPS var thing.
Yeah, you can put in that one.
Underscore var. Okay.
All right, let's actually test it out.
Oh, I need to close this. Close. Close.
If you get the sound right, I guess you could create like a blackjack or something like that. It's exactly what you would do to shuffle a card.
It says, oh shoot.
Oh yeah. Oh, same thing with the other one.
Oh my god, why did I do that?
Yeah, it's like before that catches me sometimes. Okay. Yes. All right, try it again. So it's supposed to randomize, right?
Yep. P.
Awesome. The thing is, you don't know what the ratio, but suppose that's going on in the background.
Right. Wow. Okay.
Awesome.
Awesome. Let me.
Well, this one's a little bit more advanced. Does it make sense though?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Gravity. Let me actually move this on here. Okay, so this one, turn in, turn in.
Oh, this
Okay.
is the first one?
Yeah, this was literally just the first assignment.
Oh my god. And you said there was how many?
There were 3.
Oh man.
I
Okay.
know. And then there was this one. No, I lied. Not 33, 32. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, this is the computer score. I think that's the one I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
This is actually a fun one. Let's do this one.
Okay, as computer, not just a method. Okay, so I think that he wants to submit a Java file. Okay, great. Close.
It says a program, not just a method. Okay, so
Yeah.
we have to do both. Kind of similar to what we did.
Awesome. Garcia, C-track. I'm just gonna do. No, I don't have to write anything else. Okay.
Okay.
Public static void main string that, and then that, and then it's public class assignment 32.
I think you switched this one.
Did I actually? Yeah.
Yeah, the class always comes first.
Yes, I did. There we go. Assignment 32.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's think about this one. Do you have the prompt, like the actual prompt?
Yes, I do.
Oh, let's look at that one.
261. 261. Go.
Okay.
What was
I
it?
remember this one.
Number 12. Oh, the Scrabble one. Yippee.
Yeah, this is the one I was talking about. 'Cause it's like a preliminary. You already did like the scoring for like 3 letters. So now it's not really a scoring but a ratio, but now you have to do the actual scoring, which is like the applied case.
Right.
Which is I think is good to do that. If you can create this, I think you kind of mastered the like a list, at least an array, like how to
Right.
associate integers to an array, which is like a valuable skill. It's kind of like a deck of cards, right?
Yeah.
You can play a deck of cards and create a program for that.
Right.
So for this one, I guess the concept procedure is you create a method first, right? Same as before.
Yeah.
And then this method is going to compute your score, which is what it's saying, right?
Right.
So compute score, the method. The input to this method is what? Like if you think about it, just thinking about it first of all. Like what do you want to do and then what do you want to get out of it?
Well, I want to get like just the problem in general.
Yeah, the problem in general. Like you're creating a function, a method, compute score, and then what do you want to feed it, your input, and what do you want to get out of the input? I mean, the compute score method.
Well, I want to get out like this, like I want to input like a word or something.
Which is the word that you have, right, for Scrabble.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I want to, at the end of the program, I want to get like the score, right?
Exactly. So it's pretty much going to, your program compute score is going to convert the letters into numbers.
Right.
That's exactly what it's doing. So
okay.
Let's do that. Let's do that first, and then we'll talk about how you're going to get the word and then the score.
Okay. Okay, so first I have to change to the compute score thing, right?
Yeah, so you got to do the void into something else,
yeah. Okay, so static int.
Yeah, which is the output data type.
Okay, compute score. And then what do I do after that?
And then inside, you're defining, the other one didn't have anything in it, but usually when you have a function method, you have to feed it an input. And in this game, Scrabble, whatever word, you have to input it a bunch of strings, right?
Okay, so you have to write string.
Yeah. And then, so that's your data type, your input data type. And then whatever you're putting here is just a dummy variable.
Okay.
it could be anything. What would make sense would be word, right?
Right.
So that usually, when you define a method, it's everything in it is dummy variables inside there because
Okay.
it's not really what you're defining until you get to the main. Okay.
Got it.
So what would be the most logical thing to do here? Just to think about it. Like
Most logical? Probably like list out all like the possible well, in Scrabble they give you like all the letters of the alphabet, right? So
exactly, yeah.
could,
So like
list all the letters of the alphabet.
yeah, so you list a bunch of letters, and that's like initializing the string, right?
Okay. So
And then you have a bunch of scores is the next thing. We'll talk about that after.
I put like alphabet.
Yeah.
Alphabet equals, and I just put just the alphabet A B C D F G H I K.
But this is not characters or strings, so it's double quotes, so that's good.
Q R S T U V W X. Yeah. Y C. Oh. Okay.
I know sometimes you'll.
I forgot to.
G-H-I. Oh.
Wait. Wait. A B C D E F G H I J K.
Yeah.
L M N O P. Yeah. Okay. Great. We did. Okay. It's great.
Jake, isn't it J-K? Just kidding. J-I-J.
Wait. A B C D E F G H I J.
J-K. Like J.
Oh yeah. J K.
That's all good.
Okay. Yeah. We got it. Okay. Great.
All right. So that's the concept. So you have like you initialize the letters, obviously.
Right.
And the next thing is always going back to what this method is supposed to do is you have to relate it back to a scoring base.
Right.
So now you initialize the scores.
Okay.
How do you declare and initialize that?
So you got to do int.
Okay.
And then the brackets, right?
Awesome. Yeah.
And then I guess can I just call it like score?
Yeah. No, one of the nice, it's pretty much what you did before. One of the nice things about
new int.
This one is the line 8 is what you did before last year.
Okay.
And then line 9 is what you're doing now. And now you're just feeding it, it's the sandwich. You're defining the letters and everything in there. Because you have to relate them now. And then that's the thing that we have to write. We have to relate those two things.
Okay, so I have to write all of these numbers.
Okay.
Let me look at that in order, like 1, 3, 3,
it's everything.
1.
This one was a pain.
4, 2, 4 again. Yeah, 4, 1, 8, 9. Or not 8, 5. Yeah, I don't know why I said.
I don't know why they're listing it this way. It's like really.
Yeah.
I read it horizontal at first. I was like, what the heck? It's actually vertical.
Literally, 1, 3, 3, 10, 1, 1.
I don't even remember if there's actually the accurate
4
scoring, which I forgot already. It's been a while.
I don't think so. I think I played Scrabble like 2 weeks ago. I just don't think this is correct. Probably like the old version of Scrabble.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, honestly, probably. 10. I'm gonna actually use this next time I play Scrabble, but I'm putting the right scoring in.
Yeah, it's actually this is the reason why you do programming.
Literally. This is useful now. I'm like, Mom, look, we don't have to like do it ourselves anymore.
Oh yeah, I forgot you tried this with your mom.
Yeah, and she gets very unimpressed. So I hope this one's impressive enough for her.
Are you guys doing GUIs this semester? I guess. Are you guys going to do GUIs? I think you guys should do GUIs before you graduate. I guess because like the GUIs is the one thing with the apps. Like when you're creating programming, it's gonna make it. Right. That's what users want, right? Like apps.
Yeah.
They don't want to like. It's primitive. I don't want to push a button or read through a code.
Right.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys will do apps. It's pretty much a package. After this, then because all these things are gonna go behind the scenes.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So you did this,
right?
And then now let's think about like how you're gonna fill in the gap of connecting these guys.
Okay.
It's kind of like what you did with the accumulator.
Okay.
When you sum things up, right? Like if you think about it, that's what you're doing, right?
Right.
Because
So
you're
I have
creating
to,
the sum of the letters, the sum of the letter scores.
yeah, so I have to start with where we're starting, right? Which is 0.
Yeah. What are you gonna name it first?
Well, I can't name it the same thing as put score
I would
start.
probably put total, like just to
Total?
not confuse. Because like what I did there is it is 2 different words, 2 different variables, but I
Yeah.
just didn't put an S in it.
No.
I would stick with the convention, yeah, total, so that it doesn't get confusing. So int total accumulator, and now we have to do a for loop, which is
Yippee.
a logical step. It has to be a for loop.
Right.
Okay.
Parentheses int I.
Yeah.
We're starting at 0, so 0.
Yeah. And then what about this next one? How are you gonna make it automatic? The second argument is usually would like to make it automatic, like what you did before.
So I have to find the length of whatever word is going to be inputted, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So I is less than.
The thing is, it's your dummy variable that you're gonna feed it, right?
Right.
It's not
so,
the alphabet. It's the
right. It's the whatever word they put in. So just like user word or word.
exactly. Yeah, that's how you make it automatic.
I'm gonna put user
Or word, right? Isn't it word?
Is it word?
Because that's what you.
Oh yeah, yeah. I already yeah, literally.
Yeah.
It's word.
Okay, so word dot
Dot
what?
length.
Yeah. So so this thing right here is kind of similar to what you did with the size, but then that was only a program. It wasn't a method, right?
Right.
And you define the size as a number that you pretty much hard coded. In this case, it's a method, so that's why you have to associate it with the input variable.
Okay. And then I did the I++.
Okay, so now this is the creative part. So let's think about this one. I mean, if you look at what it is, because that's what it wants you to do. It wants you to do index of, right?
Right.
You could probably look up what, like in the documentation, what the heck is this index of? But what it does, to put it simply, is it will just, like you have a string, right? Like A, B, C, what, and then you want to equalize it to a number. You want to associate it with a number, which is the score. So that's what you're doing. You're gonna, for each alphabet, you're gonna apply this index of method. And then what you're gonna do is for each of the word that you're asking the user to give you, you're gonna give it a character that's gonna associate with like the each one of those word, like letters inside the word.
Okay.
Is gonna look into the alphabet, and then because you have the same number of like scores, like 1, 3 to 10. The size of this score list is the same as the alphabet, right?
Right.
There's 23 of them, I think. Yeah. So that's how you're gonna do word.char at, because then for each one of the words, it's gonna check what index is in that is in the score list, and then it's gonna check what letter you have in word.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is it's like 3 things that you have to connect. You have to connect the alphabet,
Right,
to the word, to the number, to the score list. You have to connect all 3 of them.
Yippee.
And how you start out with that is you have to use your accumulator. The 4th thing is the accumulator is going to add those numbers once you know that A is 1, B is 3,
Right.
So you start out with that because this is what you want to output out of the for loop.
Okay.
So you
start with the total.
Same as what before, yeah.
And then I do the plus equals like we did last time.
Yeah. You could either do that or total equals total plus.
Which one do you like to do better?
This one. This one, everyone does this one because then it's simpler. Yeah. It's harder to understand, but then once you see, I was like, oh, that's what it means.
Right.
So the next thing is you go to this list, right?
Right.
So you go to this list score.
Right.
And then whatever you put inside is going to be the index of score, where you're going to associate, you're going to write this bunch of code that's going to connect your alphabet string to your word. So let's just type this. Yeah. So you have the alphabet, okay? And then you apply the method dot index of.
Dot index of.
And then this dot index of, I would like you to do, after this, like just Google index of and see,
Okay.
and just kind of read through the documentation
Okay.
to make this make more
Make
sense.
more sense. Okay.
Yeah. So when you dot index of, what you feed it, the argument of index of is your dummy variable word, right?
Word.
Yeah. And then now you use another method, dot car at.
Okay, we've learned that one before.
Yeah. But it's like small letter. I don't know.
Yeah. Car at.
And then inside, and so like it's like a triple
Inside of
thread.
that one.
This is where you finally put your index counter. Yeah.
And then like that. No, I think I just need to. Yeah. And like that. Okay.
So this whole thing inside, like, just to not like get bogged down by the code. What you're doing inside the score, like this bracket to bracket score, inside the score, like array, what the output of this alphabet to like car at is just a number, right?
Right.
And this number is the index of where alphabet is that's associated with word.
Yeah.
And then once you connect that, then it knows what number or what index it's supposed to access. And then once you access that different number, from 0, it starts with 0, right? The element 0, 1, 2, all the way to 22 in this case. Then it's gonna grab that and then it's gonna add it to the total accumulator, and it's gonna keep on adding until you're at the end of your word.
Got it.
So that's it. That's to put it simply. You can after looking at the documentation, it's like, oh, that's what it is.
Right.
Just to try to convince yourself, like, oh yeah, this makes sense.
Okay.
This is what you have to write. Sometimes in code, like why? How the heck does this make sense? So it's so cryptic,
Yeah.
For the most part, I don't know why they do this, but yeah, that's just eventually it's like, okay, you just have to accept it.
Right.
Even though it doesn't make sense. Okay, and then the next thing, so now you accumulated the total accumulator. What do you output? Like, what's the output of this guy?
Like the total.
Total, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So return total. Okay.
Awesome. So I think that's the method. Now he wants you to write the actual program. So.
Okay, so public. Do that again. Public static void main string arms. And then like that. And then.
Yeah, so this part is kind of, you're gonna have to use scanner, right? Or easy read or whatever.
Yeah, let me open. I have to look at how I do the easy reader thing again.
Okay.
Waldo.
It's like similar.
Yeah,
so
it's easy read console.
Yeah, it's very similar.
Easy, okay. I think it's just easy reader. Is it capital? I think it's capital. Easy, yeah. Okay.
And do you have to import this? You don't have to for easy reader.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that's good. That's probably why he wants you guys to do this. Okay.
Equals
oh, I see.
reader. E reader. Let's take that, right? Yeah. No, maybe. Yes. Okay, great. Semicolon. And then system.outprint. Oh my gosh, my period keeps like double.
Oh man.
Like it's so annoying. LN.
Yeah.
It's like please input a word. Wait, space. And then like that, and then it goes. Let me see how I do that. String user. Okay, console. Yeah. Okay, it's like that. So string. Is it just word?
Let's see.
Or do I have to make a new?
What did I do here? String. Let me see. Scanner that in system that out. Easy. Oh, you did easy reader.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it'll be string. Yeah, whatever your now same as before. You had the word dummy variable for your method, and then now you're actually defining the word variable.
So do I have to name it something different, or can I just put word?
It's always better convention to name it something different. different. So word,
Okay, word underscore
you won't get confused. Yeah, yeah, like that.
Equals console dot read line. So what else about? Yeah. There you go.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
And then system dot out print line.
Oh yeah, this one is just, so if you think about it, like you know, like the first thing here, it's asking for please input a word and it gives you the input, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to do the extra line. It's just
Okay.
for organization. You could put in, yeah, you could skip that part.
Score is, and then there. Wait, shoot, there. Okay. Compile.
Yeah, and then you apply. You have to apply the compute score.
What did I do wrong? I think console is, yeah. No, what? Console dot read line. Oh, capital.
Oh yeah, it does that.
Run. Let's do puppy.
Okay.
Oh.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
about that.
Checked it.
I have to put in total.
You have to put in the method. The method.
Like the whole thing.
I'm gonna let you think about this one.
You gotta give me a second on that one.
You define a function method. So what do you do in the? Is it the whole thing?
I have to. No, it's just the. Do I have to put in the compute score thing?
Okay. Yes.
Compute score.
Yeah. That's why you define the method. Okay.
Okay.
And then what do you feed it? What do you
Inside
feed it?
it is gonna be the word user.
Exactly.
Okay. Word underscore user, and then. Okay. Now let's compile it again.
I think this is good. Let's see.
Nope. Okay.
Oh wow. Okay, let's actually check it. So P is what, 3?
P is 3. I can't even find on here. Yeah, 3. So
9.
There's that's 9. U is 1, 10, and Y is 4, 14. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, this is actually one of the better ones. I think it's not that bad, not that hard.
Yeah,
but the application is like, oh wow, like that's how they do it now.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting.
Because I've actually seen something like this online. Like if you just like play online, like chess or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's Scrabble. So like this is what's happening behind the scenes. So like that makes more sense.
Yeah, that's so cool actually.
Okay.
I think my mom might be impressed.
She might actually like this.
I think she'll be impressed this time. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a bunch of these codes things is just putting, it's like Lego, yeah. Like yeah. You get this part, and then later on you do the GUI, right? And then you put them together, and voila, you have an app. You can work for Apple. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so we got that one. We put this in school. And the last one I have, I think, is a really short one. Okay. I hate this thing on the top. If you can see it, it's like not letting me go.
What in the world?
Okay. Yeah. Wait. Oh shoot! I exited out of Google Classroom. I was like, what happened? Okay. All right. It's this one. Okay.
13, 14,
13, 14, 17, and 16.
These are hard actually. I don't know if you.
Oh,
it looks like it seems like it's easy, but it's actually pretty hard.
Yippee.
Like at first I was like, oh man, I'm gonna do this last. I was like, oh man, it actually took forever. What I would do is is it due like on Tuesday already?
I mean, he said I have until the end of the week to turn all this in. So.
Okay. Did you want to go over it, or like the ones I gave you? Just try to look at it first. If it looks like it's doable, like if
I'm gonna read the questions real quick.
Okay.
Let's see. I think I just tell you this. Yeah, I don't think it's on the textbook. Okay. Okay. Write a condition to a test failed.
Only write the condition, nothing else. Okay.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up with us. Okay, I think I can do that one.
This one right here, if test is if an element is on either diagonal, and it says matrix, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing I was telling you. Like,
Right.
if you know what this means, the square matrix.
A square matrix.
Yeah, it's not the movie.
Does it have anything to do with the movie?
And everyone always says that when they're like, "What the hell?"
Oh my god.
No, but like a matrix. First of all, a matrix is like a vector. You know what a vector is?
Yeah.
Okay, so a matrix is just a double vector, two-dimensional vector. So you have a
Oh,
column
okay.
and a row, which is a matrix, and it's square if you have the same amount of rows and columns.
Okay.
So that's a square matrix, same amount of rows and columns makes it square.
Okay.
But the thing is, knowing that it doesn't really help you much because it's really hard to create.
Which one do you think is like the hardest out of these four?
13 is the hardest one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
Can we
like.
go over that one then?
Okay, sure. Let's So remember I said the double loop.
Yeah.
The double loop it applies here because it's a matrix.
Okay.
So let's see. Okay. And then since we're only checking if it's on the diagonal, man, there's like a lot of steps here, and he's assuming that you guys know it.
That's really lovely.
Because like a diagonal, that's another concept. A diagonal of a matrix is what it is. It's not that hard. Like you have this rows and columns, right?
Yeah.
And the diagonal is the diagonal of that matrix. Like you go, from top left to bottom right. That's the diagonal.
Right.
Let me see if I can. Let me see.
Okay. Can I start? Let's start where I know. Okay. Public class.
I thought I had. Okay, here I do have it.
Void.
Can you see this?
No.
You
Do you want me
can't
to
see
stop sharing my screen? Oh yeah. Wait. Yes. I can see that.
You don't have to stop sharing your screen, but so you have this thing, right?
Yeah.
So this is your matrix.
Okay.
Yeah. For example, you have 1, 2, and 3, right?
Okay.
4, if that's a 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
7, 8, and 9.
Oh, those things.
Bunch
Yeah.
of columns. Yeah, you probably learned. Yes.
Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
And it is rows, right?
Yeah.
So the diagonal is this guy, 1, 5, and 9.
Okay.
I think there's two diagonals though. This is the principal diagonal or like primary, and then you also have 7, 5, 3 as the secondary.
Okay.
But I think he just wants you guys to check this guy.
Okay.
So yeah, that's really what that is.
Okay.
We have to check if your number in that matrix is in the diagonal.
Got it.
That's the concept that he wants you guys to check.
Okay.
Okay. So since this is a check, what does it mean? Like what's the output?
What's the output?
Yeah, because there's a check, right? You're checking if a number is in the diagonal.
Right. So the output is.
Is it a number or is it something different?
No, wouldn't it be the matrix?
It would. So the matrix itself is a number. You're putting numbers inside.
Right. So is it a number?
But if you're comparing it, if like for example what I had drawn earlier, if one was on the diagonal,
right,
and then it is on diagonal, then the output is true, right?
Right. Yeah.
If for example you had like 4, which is now diagonal, it will be false. So it's a Boolean.
Okay.
So yeah, you have to create like a method that will check if it's like a diagonal, if the element inside your main is a diagonal.
Oh shoot, wait, that's wrong. Okay. Let's do rename file. Yes, great, wonderful. Okay. The public class, is it not main, whatever it's called?
Public static?
Yeah, is it not that?
It's not public class. You only have one class. You only have one class. You have a bunch of like.
Sorry, it's public. Yeah, thank you. Public static. But is it not like void main string?
It's not, because it's gonna be a method. He wants you to write a condition.
Okay.
It's not even a method, really. It's just what goes inside.
No.
But for our own edification, I guess let's just write a method.
Okay.
And you can just copy what's inside the method. So it's gonna be public static Boolean, right?
Yeah.
like static Boolean, and then whatever the name that you want to name in your function.
Like
And you're checking something here. It doesn't really matter.
Isn't it? Aren't we checking the diagonal?
Yeah, that's why I put diagonal check. You can put whatever you want.
Can I just put diagonal? I just put like check diagonal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, another thing, I guess to just insert. You know how like I put check lowercase c and uppercase d?
For what?
For like the name. Remember, like when you're defining when you're defining a variable, you use snakehead, right? With the
right.
With the underscore.
Right.
But when you're defining like a method, this is the way you do it.
Okay.
This is called Pascal's case.
Okay.
Just so that when you see it, like, or when you hear it, it's like, oh, that's what that means.
Got it.
Yeah, that's just convention. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And then what do I put inside it?
So inside this one, this is when you think about, every time you create a method, you always want to think about input output.
Okay.
And that's why I always ask, like, what do you want to get and what do you want to feed it? So what do you want to, the data type that you want to get out of it is Boolean, right?
Right.
And then now inside the parentheses is what you want to feed it. What is the data type you want to feed this function method?
Integer.
An integer, exactly. But then what kind of integer? What kind of data structure is this? Is this an array or like a vector?
No.
This is a matrix, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to define a matrix, it makes sense once you see it. Like when you define an array of vector, you only had one empty bracket, right?
Right.
But then
are there like more?
A matrix itself is a two-dimensional array.
Oh my god.
So you have to define two empty brackets.
Oh, yippee.
One for row, one for column. Yeah, that's just what it is.
So do I put matrix?
You before you do that, you have to, this right now, this is just a variable.
Okay.
You have to define the empty bracket, right? After the int.
Oh.
Two empty brackets.
Oh shit.
Or like square bracket. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So this is how it knows that you're defining an array, a two-dimensional array matrix. And then the dummy variable of the matrix is what you have to define. It could be anything. It could be math. It could be matrix, whatever.
Okay, matrix.
And then the second thing that you have to define, because if you read the problem back again, the prompt, it says you have to compare if an element is a diagonal on your matrix, right?
Right. So
there's a second thing you have to feed your check diagonal method. You have to feed it like a random, not random, but like a user-defined like number. So now it's just a number. It could be, it has to be an integer, yeah. Number. Yeah.
Okay.
And this number, to go back to concept, this number is what you're gonna compare each one of those elements inside your matrix.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
So after that, we're done with that. So
okay. So here's it's not really hard. If you're looking at it, it looks hard, but then the concept isn't that bad. So when you did like an array, one-dimensional vector, you only had one for loop, right?
Right.
But then now you have a matrix, which I did allude to that. Now you have rows and columns, not just a row.
You have to do two for loops?
Two for loops.
Okay.
So let's do a first one first. Let's do the first one. Yeah.
Okay, so for int I, we start at 0, so 0, semicolon, I is less than number.
Is it number?
I think it is number.
But then, like, that's why I wanted you to go back to the what was the number that what was the number supposed to be? Like what is the number dummy variable? What is that?
Isn't it supposed to be a user? Like, isn't the user supposed to put in a number?
Yeah, but it's just random isn't really the word. It's just a user-defined number. It could be 1 to like 1,000,000, right?
Right.
But it's not the matrix size, right?
Right.
But the thing is, when you're defining a for loop, it's associated with the array.
Okay.
That's what you did before.
Yeah.
So the first one here is the row, or it could be the column. How can you give it the size of the column or row?
You have to just give it to it?
No, it could be matrix, right? You have to use matrix, the dummy variable.
Oh, so do I have to say matrix?
Yeah, that what?
Dot length?
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because every time you do dot length, it's an automatic method or command that will check, that will give you the size of your matrix.
Right.
That's what it is. You
Do I have to
always,
put the 2 parentheses? Or no?
you could, you don't have to. I think it's both will work.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I have to do I++.
Yeah.
And then I think that's it for that.
Okay, so this is the row, right?
Yep.
Or column, whatever. So the next thing is the next one would be the row or column, which is another for loop. And what dummy counter do you define?
Well, it can't be. Can I use I again?
You can. It's gonna get confused.
Okay, so
This is the part where-
can I give
It has to be
another?
anything else, yeah. But,
Anything else? Okay, let's do K
okay.
equals, and that starts at 0 as well. And then gotta do K is less than. Do I have to do the matrix thing again?
Yeah. Oh yeah, another, I guess, an insert. Like this is a square matrix, right?
Right.
If it wasn't a square one, you can't do this matrix out line.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I always keep, so it's like an adding. You have to think about it again, because then what if you had a 3x4 matrix or like a 5x7, you know?
Right.
You have to get that number. Like you probably have to hard code it. I would say hard coding would be the last resort. You never want to hard code anything.
Right.
Try to get that number without hard coding. Is what
Okay.
Yeah, there's a bunch of ways. Okay, so now you define the row and then the column, I and K. Now we can actually finally define the conditions, right? Because we have to check. Every time you have to check something, you have to compare, right?
Right.
So it has to be a condition statement. We've done a bunch of those.
So it has
comparison
to be
statements, yeah.
Does it have to be an if?
Yeah, if, else, if.
If.
I think for this one, we'll just do the main diagonal. He didn't really specify which one. I think let's just do the one if statement, right? I think that's what he says. Because when he says is on either diagonal, maybe you have to do both. Yeah, let's just do both. Okay. Because he's saying either diagonal, so that must mean it's more than one.
I'm gonna move my computer over here to charge it. It's about to die.
Okay. What is the first one here? The left to right, but top left, bottom right is not hard.
Right.
The other one, top left, bottom right, is the harder one. Okay.
Oh, yippee.
So let's define the easier one first. So let's think about it first. So what the heck are we doing? Diagonal. Okay. What should the condition be? What does that mean? Let me write something because.
Okay.
Okay. So let's make this like red. Okay. So you have this matrix, right?
Right.
And then now this will make more sense if I add, instead of adding numbers, I'm gonna add the index.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, let's do I for row.
Right.
And then K for column.
Mm-hmm.
And then any of these indexes is gonna be like I, K, yeah?
Right. So
this first one right here is gonna be, I guess I'll do Java index. So we'll do like 0, 1, right? Or 0, 0. And then the next column here, first row, is going to be first row, second column, right?
Yeah.
And then what's this next one?
Then it'll be 0, 2.
Exactly, 0, 2. All right. So this next, now we're in the next row. So it's going to be 1.
So it'll be 1, 0.
1, 0. And then what's the next one?
1, 1.
1, 1. Okay.
And then 1, 2.
Okay. You're going to see a pattern soon. I think you'll probably already see it.
Yeah.
And then this is 2, right?
2, 0.
And then 2, 1.
2, 1.
And then 2, 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at this, if you look at like if you look at this guy, if you look at these guys, right?
Yeah.
These are the principal diagonals, right?
Right.
What do they have? Is there a pattern between like all three of them? What's the pattern?
Each other.
They're the same, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we have a condition such as that. Like you have to make it, if the row number is the same as the column number, how would you do that?
So I equals.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's the first condition.
Okay.
You actually have a second one. Like yeah, it's a double condition. You have to do the and. This is the part where like what?
Wait, what do I have to do?
So you have I equal k, right?
Right.
And then you have to do a second condition. So it has to be two ands, two ampersand. No, not here. Like it's next to the. It's
Oh
in the
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. Wait,
Okay.
here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
after k, inside the parentheses.
Inside the parentheses.
Yeah. The reason why I'll explain what I mean here. So the I equal k, that's just saying that it's inside, it's on the diagonal, right?
Right.
But you didn't check if the number that you asked the user, number,
Right.
if that matches the diagonal. You didn't tell the computer that yet.
No.
But what you told it, I equal k, is yes, it's a diagonal. Okay,
Right.
so what? So that you have to put an and. So how would you tell the computer this place where the I equal k, the diagonal,
Yeah.
does this equal the number that you asked the user? How would you do that?
Would you then have to do like you would have to know if I and like the I comma k equals the number that the user gave, right?
You got it. Yeah, that's the concept. Yeah, that's exactly what you have to do.
So
How would you code that?
So I equals k equals whatever.
So the very first one, you're making the index equal, right? The row index equal the column index. This next one after condition, you have to compare the matrix structure. So where the actual number inside the matrix, not the index.
Okay.
So do you remember in the array, when you put it inside a bracket, you're actually accessing the number?
Yeah.
Like these numbers inside.
Mm-hmm.
And what if this equals like 1, right? And this equals 2?
2.
Yeah. And then this equals like 4 or 5. This is 5, right?
Yeah.
How would you access this 1, 2, and 3? How would you, like it's inside a matrix. How would you tell the computer, I want 1, I don't want 0 and 0. I want 1, 2, and 3.
You'd have to say that 0, 0 equals 1 before you ask.
So there's a matrix double bracket. You're feeding this check diagonal a matrix, right?
Right.
So you have to use that one. So matrix and then the double bracket. You have to put something inside. What do you put inside the brackets?
It's 4 o'clock. Sorry, it's my computer. I would have to put in
to get the 1, 2, and 3. This is a concept. I want you to hold this
like,
up. It's like
you have to like, don't you have to tell them that you want like the first row?
Exactly. So what goes inside the bracket then? So you know how the first condition I equal k, that's the index, right?
Yeah.
But then you want to access the actual number at that location. The location meaning the index. So you put in the index number inside.
So I.
And then the other one. What about the other bracket?
Other bracket is k.
Yeah. Does that make sense? The I is the row, and then the k is the column.
K is the column. Okay.
And then so what? So now you have, for example, what if it's 0, 0, right? It starts with 0, 0, right?
Yeah.
So now you're saying, okay, it's on the diagonal 0, 0, and then this matrix 0, 0, this is 1, right?
Right.
So what about this 1? What do I want to compare this to?
You want to compare it to whatever the person put in?
Yeah. How would you do that?
So
matrix IK, what? Like, what do you do with the matrix IK? You have to compare it to something.
You have to compare it to.
Kind of similar to what you did with I equal k.
Give me a second.
Okay.
What do I have to compare it to?
Yeah. What do you have to compare it to? I don't know. You have to compare it to the number, equal number.
Oh.
Right? You have to compare it to the number.
Wait, explain that. It doesn't make any sense.
So you have this matrix, there's 1, right?
Right.
And then out of nowhere, a user says, I want 2. I want to know if 2 is in the diagonal, right?
Right.
This is the number.
That's the number. Oh, okay.
Equal, right? Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's like a rat, like out of nowhere. Like that's what I mean. Like that's like
Right.
this is the reason why you need the second argument.
Right. Do I have to put it here or do I have to put it in the next column?
Equal. You have to put it where the matrix ik equal then the
Oh,
number.
equal,
Yeah.
and number.
So that's two of those conditions now together combined will give you the one that you want, which is like I want it to be in the diagonal, which is I equal k, right? That's the diagonal.
Yeah.
And then I also want my number to equal what is the number inside the diagonal.
Right.
Second condition. So that's the first one. And then now, what do you want to do? What do you want to return after you confirm that it is on the diagonal and the number does equal what is on the diagonal?
I want to return. It's a really good question.
Okay.
I want to return. We have to return this, don't you? The matrix I and k.
Yeah, you have to return that one.
Is that it?
So the output to this thing is a Boolean, right?
Right.
So what are you returning in a Boolean? What are you outputting in a Boolean?
My goodness. Yeah, that my brain is stuck.
So if you confirm that it is I equal k, it's gonna be true, right? Return true.
Yeah.
Yeah. True or false is either one.
Okay.
But then, like, since you confirmed that this is the first one, so return true. But the next one is gonna be really hard. Let me.
I have to put return.
Yeah, true. Like true, all lowercase.
Like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's look at this next one. This next one is a little. Let's see. Okay, so it says either diagonal. So now we have to define the other diagonal.
Oh, yippee.
All right, so what do you do when there's a second else?
Oh, wait, then if I'm doing that, then I have to, sorry, I have to go. I have to close these with the brackets. Oh my goodness.
Okay, good, okay.
Okay, there.
And then what do you do when you have a second if?
Do I have to put the public static?
Like, so you have the first if, right?
Right.
But you need another if to check the second diagonal.
Right.
Yeah, so you have to do a second else if. Oh, you do it else if, I mean. Because you have one if, not here, like, it has to be inside the for loop. Yeah. So everything has to be inside the double for loop.
Right.
So it's like right after the if or return true. I think it's like line 13.
So I just start here.
You have to start where the line 13 is.
So here.
Yeah. Okay. I think after the bracket. Where's the
after the bracket?
Yeah. So yeah, right after that one.
So 4.
It's gonna be else if.
Oh, I have to do that before I do the for loop.
Yeah, because they're all gonna be. You only define the double for loop once.
Okay.
You only define that once.
Okay.
So yeah. So this else if this is so concept wise. Let's go back without code. So the first thing that you did here was you defined the rows and columns, right, with 4.
Right.
And then the first if state condition, you define the first diagonal. Confirm if the number is inside the diagonal. Yeah. So the last thing to do here is to check if the number is inside the second diagonal. Right. The top right to the bottom left. So we have to define a condition for that. Okay. Try think about this. Like, how would you get the second diagonal by using just I, K, and it's very similar to what we did for line 10. Very, very similar. But then you have to do like, I guess, a sample math. Like, oh, what if you have to like add them together? Let's see if you try think about it. Why are you adding them together? So let's see, 0
because
0. Okay.
Right, and then wouldn't you have to like get the number and I feel like you have to like add 1 or something, or maybe it's -1 because you have to go down now instead of across.
Okay. Is that what that is?
My rotting brain is telling me I think so.
So like two, for example, what was the index? Actually, try draw out the index for me, just to check the matrix that I drew. I think it'll be a good concept to like really.
Okay, wait. Okay, like this.
It's really because if you know the hand calc or whatever, I think it's good because like, oh, now it makes sense.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with 0, 0.
Yeah.
I don't even know how I'm like being able to draw this. 0, comma 1,
Yeah, that's good.
and then 0. This hurts my hand. Comma 2. Okay. And then we gotta do no. Undo. I do. Oh shoot! Can I not draw again? Okay. 1.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Comma 0.
Yeah, because if you draw this out, something jumps out. It's always when you're looking at these data stuff, you're always looking for a pattern. It's
Right.
always looking for a pattern. That's how you get the algorithm, whatever you're writing here.
No, it's 2, comma 2.
Yeah.
2, comma 1.
Yep. 1, comma 1.
What is it?
1, comma 1, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
It gets confusing. What the second and third always gets confusing.
1.
But the first number is always the row, and second is the column.
1, and then 1, comma 2, comma 2. Last one is 2, comma 0, 2, comma 1.
All right.
2.
Super careful.
Comma
Okay.
2.
Awesome. All right. Let's step back. What was the second diagonal? Like what is that? Which numbers are those?
I'm changing the color. Green. Okay.
Awesome. Good. Okay. Let's look at those. So and then try to find a pattern, like an equation, like what we did with line 10. If you look at like the other one, 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, it's easy, right? You just compare them, right?
Yeah. So you're minusing 2 or minusing 1 going down, like this is 2 and then you minus 1, so then it's 1 and you minus 1 again. It's
what do they all equal if you add them?
If you add them.
Like 0 plus 2, 1 plus 1, 2 plus 0, what do they all equal?
3 or 2.
2, right? 2. All 3 of them equal 2, right?
Equal 2.
That's the reason why we're adding it.
Okay.
So that I plus j or I plus k equals 2, right? For all of them.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have something that's related that you can compare with all of them. This is the name of the game. You're always finding a pattern.
Okay.
And this is the pattern. All of them equal 2. So let's just do that. Does it make sense in reality? No.
Yeah, it does. Oh no, it definitely doesn't.
Yeah, but yeah, like that's an algorithm really. So this is the condition, I plus j. So now, how can I make sure this always works? That's always the question. It's like a general question with like conditions. How can I make sure it always works? I plus k equal what? Yeah.
Wait, I plus k, and then equals.
Yeah. Let's think about this first before we write it. Like, how can we make sure it's always 2? That's the question. What can we compare it to so that it's always 2?
The number.
So what's the size? What's the size of this matrix?
3 by 3.
3 by 3. Okay, good.
It's always minus 1, right? So it's 2.
Yeah. So it's the size of the matrix minus 1 is always 2, right?
Yeah.
In our case, in this matrix.
Right.
Even if it's like even if it's like a 4 by 4.
Right.
If you do 4 minus like 1, and then you did this whole exact thing that you drew here, but for a 4 by 4, it's gonna work, right?
Right.
You can test it, but it's gonna work. Like, so it's matrix dot length minus 1. That always works with any size of matrix.
Matrix dot length minus 1.
Yeah. And I guess that's what it is. Like the very first line 10 is easier, right? There's only 1. I mean, I equal k. That's easy.
Right.
But this on line 14, this kind of like, if you didn't know this ahead of time, it's like, oh, okay, this is what you have to do. There's other times that you have to do this. It's always good to draw it and then do some math and then make it general. And that's how you write the condition.
Yeah.
All right, so what's the next thing? This is the first condition. What's the next thing that you have to put? Same with line 10. What did we do?
We made.
So you know how like the first condition is I equal k for line 10?
Yeah.
And then the second one on this one, we did I plus k equal matrix length minus 1.
Yeah.
That's the first condition. What about the second condition?
Second condition.
Remember, we have to, so now you know it's on the diagonal, right? The index is on the diagonal. The second condition is checking if the user defined number is the same as the number inside the diagonal. Yeah.
So would I have to write that as an if statement?
It's going to be exactly the same thing as line 10.
Oh, so if.
You look at line 10 again. Like you see if I equal k.
Yeah.
You have that double ampersand, right? Or and sign.
Yeah.
You have to do the same thing.
Oh, do I have to do it here?
Yeah, you have to do that there. Yeah. Double ampersand.
Okay. Where's my and? Then it'd be number equals number.
Let's think about it. Is it the same?
No.
It is, right?
Yeah.
Because the first condition is only the one changing, because the second condition, once you know that this is on the second diagonal, you're done. You're just gonna put that exact index number inside the I and k of the matrix, and right?
Right.
Does it make sense? Like,
yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, so it's exactly the same thing.
So do I write matrix and then the brackets?
Yeah.
And then
at that location. I would probably just think about at the end of the day, I would just think about these two conditions. Like the first condition is the location.
Okay.
And then the second condition is the actual number.
Right.
Like if there's nothing else that, if you remember that one, that's good.
Okay.
Good. But like knowing that, yeah, this, like I said, this is the reason why this makes it, why this is hard is because the math and then also the coding.
Okay.
Okay, so now what are we trying to return here? What are we outputting? Once we confirm that it's on a second diagonal and in the number, it matches that number in the second diagonal. You return true, right?
What?
You return true, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
So return true.
And that I think that's it. But then the thing is, what about false? Like when does it ever return false?
Just like, could you just put else and then false?
It has to be outside the for loop though.
Oh, so outside here?
Like outside both for loops.
Oh, so outside like what line would I put it in then?
Try check where's the closing bracket of your first for loop. That's the next one.
That one.
Yeah, so you put it after this guy.
Okay. So would I just put else?
You just put return false.
Okay.
The reasoning for this is because you want to catch all the other ones. You don't. The only time you want it to be true is if you meet the if and else if. You're probably thinking it's like, what happened to the else, right?
Yeah.
I think there is another way you could put an else, but I did try that. You could try it. Like it doesn't count. It doesn't count for. It doesn't come out right. Like,
right.
Sometimes it's like false for the wrong locations, and that's the reason why I added the return false after the double for loop instead of adding an else. It's just one of those things where you test it. It's like, oh, it doesn't work, so let's put it outside.
Yeah, I think it won't let me put these.
Oh, there's no parentheses. Okay.
And isn't it supposed to be capital L or no capital?
I think it's just small letter or lowercase.
Okay. There we go.
All right. What? Oh, it doesn't have main method.
Oh, so where do I put that?
You have to define the main method.
Do I do?
It usually doesn't run. Like you can't just run a method. You have to define the public static void main.
Where do I put it?
You put it after the. After the line 22. After line 22, yeah.
Okay. Public. Okay.
All right, let's actually put something in this one.
Okay, so I have to do like.
So you're pretty much done. You just have to test your thing now, your check diagonal. Let's put something after the public static void main.
Okay.
So public static void main, what do you want to do? You want to define your matrix now, right? Like
Yeah.
like a user defined matrix.
So system.
I would probably what I did is I just initialized the matrices and then the number, like just a random matrix. You can make up int matrix bracket or map variable, whatever.
Underscore var.
Yeah, and then this time you're gonna be just you can define it like manually. So I just define a matrix like equal without the new keyword. So equal, and then the same way as what you did before with the array.
Yeah. So
But then let me actually say, so the array you only had one bracket, right? One curly brace, right?
Yeah.
So this time you have to define two curly braces. It's gonna make sense. Just type that in, and then because like for example, for an array, you know how like you have a double bracket, right?
Yeah.
So when you have a double bracket, you also have to have double brace.
Double braces. Okay. So like
and
this.
You the way you write this, it's not confusing, but it's kind of similar to an array. It's like an array within an array. That's a matrix. Okay. So a matrix is just an array within an array, a vector within the vector. Okay. So let's define like a 3x3.
So would I put 3 inside this bracket?
You anything on the left of the equal sign, you don't do anything. It's everything is on the right.
3.
You have to define the matrix inside the curly brace.
Oh, you mean like this?
You know what I'm talking. Let me actually like hold up.
I'm confused. Like 3.
So you know how like you have these double curly brace.
Yeah.
And then you put in numbers inside, right?
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah.
Like, well, like whatever, and then you put the double and another curly brace.
Right.
So there's a curly brace and a curly brace. So this is the first row.
Okay.
And then another curly brace, and make sure you have a comma here. And then another curly brace, which is the second row. That's how you define it. Make sure you put a comma.
Then you did what? 2, 2, 3?
Yeah, between the curly brace, the first, the 1, 2, 3, you put a comma there, yeah. And then so this is a 3x2, or like a 2x3. Now let's make it a 3x2, a 3x3.
So how would I do that?
Just add in another comma after the 2, 2, 3.
Okay.
And then another set of 3 numbers.
Which would be.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
3, 3.
Yeah. Does this make sense?
Yes.
And then, so it's just 3 sets of arrays, right?
Yeah.
Which is a matrix. Just looking at this, can you see that it's a matrix?
Yeah.
Okay. There's another way of actually writing this, but this is the one-liner. The other way is you can actually put spaces after the comma. You can space it out.
Yeah.
But let's not do that. All right. So now you have this matrix that you defined. Let's define the number that you're going to compare.
So int number.
Yeah.
Equals.
Whatever number, because you're gonna compare it. Yeah. Which already it's a false, right? There's no 4 in here.
Let me just put 2.
Okay. All right. So the better way of doing this, instead of just reading the matrix var like that, is let's output the matrix first and then let's check it. So that we know how to output the. Actually, let me see. So actually, let's not output them. Let me think. Yeah, let's see if we can actually output the matrix. Now let's do the system.out print line and then just put in mat var.
Okay.
Not like, yeah, like so. You could do that, but then let's just check how your matrix looks by system.out print line and then put in the mat var without the brackets. When you do the print line, you don't need the brackets. You just need the name. Exactly.
Okay. Like take this out?
No, like the parentheses are fine. What I'm talking about is the double bracket, which is what you have is good. You only define mat var, yeah.
Okay. Oh, here. See, it does that. Oh, yeah.
Let's see what it looks like. What is that?
What
See, like the way, because you're missing something, but let's not do that. You have to actually write more code, but let's not do that though. Let's actually, this is the thing with Java, you have to define another way of printing it out.
Yeah.
So let's just check. You can like follow my code. There's a nice strip of code that you have to write to actually output it the way it's nice. But let's actually just check if your diagonal, check diagonal works. So try uncomment. Huh?
I'm looking at what you did right now, and you did the same thing that I did.
Yeah, but look at line 25 to 28.
Oh, you declared the number before.
I had two methods. I had two. So the first method I had was diagonal check, right?
Yeah.
And then my next method, public static void print matrix.
Yeah.
If you write that, you can use that, but do it later. Like you can use that to print your mat var in a nice way.
Can I just like
You could actually, why don't you could just copy it.
I'll do it right now.
Yeah, just copy the line 25 to 29.
Yeah, wait, let me grab it from here. It was assignment 16 problem 13 that you sent me.
Yeah, I think it was like 16 problem 13 that _2. I did this twice because the other one was 13 to, where is that?
Yeah.
That one.
Download.
Yeah, let's see. Public static void, yeah, print matrix. There's no line. That's fun. The public static void print matrix.
This part?
Not that part. You see the public static void print matrix? That one, yeah. All the way to the brace.
This? All the way to here?
Yeah, just copy it. Let's use what you have, but just copy
this.
Up to the closing brace, that one.
Okay, and where do I put that?
You put that before before line 23.
Okay.
All right, so you have this thing. Let's actually use that. I'm not going to explain this, but what it does is it will just print the matrix in a nice way, so you can check if it's in the diagonal by your own observation. So. Oh yeah, you have to import Java util array. This is a class that you have to. So
where do I import it?
Outside the class. So go up, and then yeah, right there you put same with the scanner Java util but arrays. You actually did this before already.
Yeah.
This is just another command in array. Okay, so you did that, and then so let's actually use that to print out mat var.
I already did that, and look what it gave me, the same thing.
Try to you have to use the actual method, print matrix. So put in print matrix inside the mat var, line 35.
35.
Instead of system.out_print.
What do I put?
So erase that whole thing and then type print matrix. Capital M. And then you feed it a matrix. So you put in mat var.
In parentheses?
Yeah. So mat _var. And then let's see what happens. There you go. You see that? It's nice, right?
Yeah.
Because you can confirm now. So this is what you have. And then now the next thing is, let's actually use your check diagonal. Let's use that one. That's the next thing you want to do. You wanna type something. You have to type something after this 35. So after line 35, let's put in like system.out.println. And then what's the name of your command, your method? What was the name of your method?
Check diagonal.
Yeah, so you type that, check diagonal. And then what do you have to feed it?
A number.
I think it's like two things, right?
Oh, sorry. Why did my computer?
Oh no.
My Gmail just popped up. Feed it two things.
Okay, let's do that. What's the two things you have to feed it? Parentheses first, and then we'll feed it. Yeah, you have to put in it inside the parentheses, right? Check diagonal.
Yeah.
The check diagonal is the method, so you have to feed it. Yeah, okay. So what goes inside is, what's the first argument? Try to go up. You can check. What's the first argument?
The int matrix.
Okay, so that's the dummy variable. What's the actual matrix that you define in your main class or in your main program?
Up here?
No, like
right here.
Down there, the main one. Yeah. What's the matrix that you define? What's the name of the variable?
3 or mat var.
Yeah, so put that in there, yeah. Without the you never define the brackets, only when you declare it. Okay, so what's the second argument of your check diagonal method? What's the second argument?
Do I have to put another parentheses or no?
Yeah, it has to be inside. It has to be after mat var comma. So mat var comma, and then whatever's in. What's the second argument?
The number.
Okay, you named it the same, so just put number, yeah.
Number. Like that.
Yep, and then another one. Okay, let's see what happens. Ooh, what happened?
I don't know.
Return. It didn't return anything.
No.
Check down mat var number 2. It's probably a return false. It's supposed to return false or true. That's what you expected, right?
Yeah.
Let's see where you put the return false. It's probably a brace thing. Try put in, let's see, 1, 2, 3. It's supposed to return true because 2 is actually on the diagonal.
Yeah.
Let's see what we did here. For int if. So you had 3 brace. Okay, good. Return true. And then another brace. And return true. And then double brace and return false. And you're returning a Boolean, which is good. And diagonal check M and E. Let's see. What is that? Try changing the number in the bottom.
Where the int?
Yeah, change that and see what happens. I'm always thinking like maybe you have to change the variable name. It shouldn't be that. Oh, here you go. I don't know what happened.
That's weird.
Okay, try and change it back again. So let's, 3 is in the diagonal, first and second diagonal. So that's good. Try put in 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, it's not. It's true. If it's true, it's outputting, but the false is not outputting.
Yeah, false is an outputting.
So I guess okay, that's good. We isolated that issue. So let's figure out how to resolve it. Let's see. It's a brace issue. Let's go back to the method. It's like a location of this guy. It's not located in the right place. It's a brace issue.
After the first for loop brace.
That's what I did. I put it outside the first one.
Try moving it.
Where should it go?
What if I move it there?
Try to put it there and see.
Missing return statement.
Okay, that's what happens inside.
Okay, fine. Maybe we put it on this line, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let's not do that. What if we put there?
Nope. Hey, leave your start.
Right.
You're outside the program. That's right.
Right. What about here?
Try missing return statement, and it's highlighting it.
Fine.
has to be in the right place. It has to be there.
Yeah, it has to be there.
What the? 1, 2, 1. Okay.
Let's try
2, 3.
See, it's not doing it. That's so weird.
Try
So
copy.
weird.
Try copy the one I have. It's exactly the same. What in the world? Except I used J.
You did it 3 times after the true. Yeah, what? I don't understand.
-1 dot length equal
Wait.
I.
Yeah, what?
Else if, and then you use number. Oh, I see the mistake.
Okay, what happened?
I want to let you find it.
What?
No, look at line 11.
Line 11. Okay.
Just look at it. I found it actually.
I'll just look at it.
I see it now. It's always.
Oh, wait.
There you go. That makes sense now. So try to go look at 4. Yeah, 4. True worked before. Let's see the.
Yeah, but true didn't work for 2.
False.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
I think it should work for anything. You could try it with a 4x4, but you have to change your line 33 and then all the other ones.
I want to see if he asked to put it in. Submit problem solutions in Google. Yeah, but do you want us to put it in Google like Docs, or should I put this in a Google Doc? I feel like it's long.
I don't know. It's up to your teacher.
I think I'm gonna turn it in as like a
Okay.
as a Java file. But the other ones I think I can.
Yeah, exactly. Just look at the one I have. The hardest one is already done.
Okay.
All the other ones I think the second hardest one is number 16.
Okay, then I'll.
But just take a look at that one. It's not that bad. Like conceptually, it's like, what the heck is it asking me? So that's why it's hard. Like, what the heck does cover me?
Write a block of code, not a method. The arrays to use are double M1 and double bracket M2. Assume that both arrays have been created and have values. Instead of returning the Boolean value, output the Boolean value.
Yeah,
what?
I know. Right? Exactly what I was thinking.
That doesn't make
what I said when I read that. But anyways, just copy the one I have. If you have another question, 14 and 17 is super easy. If you read it, it's just comparing. You're gonna do the accumulator again.
Right.
But just copy what I have, and then like, if you have another question on this, do you guys have another homework that's not this? Are you guys moving out of arrays? Is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I have another homework that's due in a couple days. I can show that to you.
Okay. But like hopefully you guys, the pace that you guys are doing, hopefully it's the same as last year or last semester.
I think so.
Okay, because then you're just gonna be doing like different types of arrays.
Yeah,
and then you're gonna do GUIs, hopefully.
Let me put that there. Google Classroom. Let me open a new Google Classroom. There we go.
Okay.
This one.
Let me see.
Oh my God.
There's a lot on this one. Man, he's a checkboard. Oh, this is a good one.
If you want, I can send this to you and we can meet this sometime this week if you can.
Yes, if you want to do same Sunday too, this is good with me.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Oh, is it due this week? Is that?
Yeah, it's due this week.
Like Friday?
I think it's due the 19th. So in.
What is that? 19th? Oh man, 19th is close.
But he'll probably give me an exception because remember I missed like almost all last week.
Ask him for 22. I'll send you what I have, and then maybe we can meet on. I'm busy on Friday. Maybe Thursday. We'll see.
Thursday? Okay. Just let me know. And if you want, I'll send you pictures of this like today. Okay.
Are you good at 5 though? Like after 5?
When? On Thursday?
Yeah, any weekday.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Thursday or Friday, I'll look at it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Have a good one.
Okay, bye.